Hello, everyone, and welcome to our very exciting webinar, Meet the Chief Household Officer, What Today's Family Consumers Want from Your Brand. I am so excited to be joined by two incredible guests today, Amy Andrews and Tia Wolf. By the way, I'm your host, Evan Brandoff. Well, first off, hello, Amy. Hello, Tia. Welcome.
Hello. Thank you for having us.
Yeah. Thank you so much for, thank you. And quick bios, why we're so excited to have Amy and Tia. Well, first off, Tia Wolf has more than a decade of experience in the restaurant industry and has spent the last 5.5 years working with Mod Pizza. She is now the Senior Field Marketing Manager for this delicious restaurant chain. So welcome, Tia. Thank you so much for being here. And Amy Andrews is an accomplished marketer with more than a decade of experience at AAA Northeast. I am a very proud AAA Northeast member, so thank you for the incredible work that you do. And she currently serves as the Director of Marketing at AAA Northeast. Hello, Amy, welcome.
Welcome, and welcome to everybody here viewing. I'm very excited for the conversation.
Thank you. So a little bit more about the topic that we're going to be discussing today. Today, we're going to be sharing insights about the Chief Household Officer and discussing what those insights mean for marketers. Much of the data we'll cover comes from TeamSnap's 2023 Parents as Consumers report, and that, along with the recording of this webinar, will be distributed via email following the event. So a couple of household items before we get going. Following the discussion, we'll be taking audience questions. So please, at any point, drop your questions into the chat. At any point during the webinar, you may ask questions using the questions feature, and we'll answer them as soon as we wrap up this discussion. And with that, Amy, Tia, you ready?
Ready.
Let's do it. Let's jump in. So I'd like to start. We had a recent TeamSnap survey of more than 1,000 parents and looked at some of the most common purchase decisions they make and found that price and convenience are still, unsurprisingly, incredibly important factors for family buyers. So Amy, we'll start with you. How should marketers prioritize these factors when communicating with the family audience? And those factors being price and convenience.
Sure. So I think, when I think of AAA and then just marketing in general, we try to look at it in a lifetime value proposition. So if we're going to come at it with a discount or something to kind of get somebody onboarded to our product, get them familiar, we know, especially at AAA, we have a nice legacy where people will stay for a long time. They engage with all the different other products and services. So we're happy to kind of meet them where they are, especially in economic times like right now, and give them a softer entry point into our product so that they can try it on for themselves and see, and then knowing that data has shown us we have a long lifetime value, usually a higher lifetime value. We're okay with, being a little bit aggressive, I think, sometimes with our pricing and our value proposition. We also try to position things to, the world runs on subscription monthly fees now. So we try to keep that in mind and, break that down into, you only have to pay a monthly fee, and here's what that is, and yet here's all the value in which you're able to spend, $5 a month, but yet you can access all these things. And quite honestly, for families, I think most of our benefits really fit into that family genre and age group, right? If you go and want to do any sort of movie tickets or theme park tickets, you've probably saved the cost of your annual membership right there without doing anything else for the rest of the year. So trying to find a way to summarize that and get that in front of people certainly is always a challenge for us. We're always trying to do it in different creative ways.
That makes a lot of sense, and thank you for those amusement park discounts in particular. My wife and 18-month-old, well, we haven't taken him yet, but we're going to take big advantage of those. Tia, same question to you. When how should marketers prioritize factors like price and convenience when communicating with a family audience?
Yeah, I love that Amy brought up the sort of idea of your value proposition. And I think this is really the time for brands to think critically about what your value proposition is and lean into that in your marketing strategy. For us at Mod, our value proposition is any toppings, one price. And that's something that we're definitely honing in on because it's such an important factor, especially in the restaurant industry. And looking at that report that you guys put out, the other one that popped out in the restaurant section to me was convenience. So leaning into speed of service, leaning into your different ordering channels so that folks know how they can get a hold of your product and how that can fit into their busy lifestyles. Another one that came up a lot for the restaurant industry in particular was that it was close by. So that's something that I'm thinking about in our next round of marketing campaigns is how do we highlight locations and where that location is to, that local consumer.
That makes sense. What's the most underrated Mod pizza topping, Tia?
Is it underrated or is it controversial? The answer is pineapple. But I think that I'm team pineapple. We actually just did a whole campaign around National Pineapple Day, which is June 27th every year. And so I'm team pineapple. I think underrated though would be corn. I love corn on pizza, roasted corn. It's not something that is everyone's cup of tea, but it adds that kick of sweet if you're not a pineapple person.
Does corn go well with pineapple?
I put it on my pizza, but I don't know if it would be for everyone.
I love it.
If I learned anything so far, I'm going to try corn on my pizza sometime in the future.
Me too. And I think that you all put it so well that leading with your value proposition is pivotal, and things like pricing convenience are one layer away from leading with your value prop, based on what the value proposition is for your brand. So across all industries examined in that survey that we did, at least 10% of all respondents cited coupons and/or store credit cards as a deciding reason for making a purchase. What can marketers do to sell their loyalty programs apart from the competition? Tia, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I love this question. And clandestinely enough, at Mod, we recently relaunched our rewards program as Mod Rewards 2.0 in early June. And I think what brands should do is really think about the creative ways to add value into that loyalty program. There are so many loyalty programs out there, and a lot of them kind of have the same base strategy of every X amount you spend, you're gaining some kind of points, and those points could be redeemed for something. But what are the other things that you can do to create added value in that program? Is it exclusive offers? For us, we recently tied our rewards program into our social impact strategy. So you have the ability to donate your rewards to a cause. We also tied it to our fundraising platform, where now if you're a rewards member, our fundraisers that you do give back more than if you weren't a rewards member. So it's thinking about what are ways that you can kind of creatively add that value to your rewards program that is exclusive and would want you to be a part of the club.
That makes a lot of sense. I love that you could donate your points. What are you seeing any trends of what people are donating their points for? Any particular causes?
Yeah, so what we do at Mod is we give a list of charities that you can donate to that's tied to our own social impact strategy. So for us, we are committed to breaking down barriers to employment for the folks. So that includes second chance hiring for people who may have had a rocky past or have had past incarceration. It's also providing first starts for people. We work with organizations that support employment for individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities. So in our rewards platform, you can donate your reward either to Goodwill and their jobs program or Best Buddies and their mission to create inclusive hiring practices.
It's awesome. Amy, so from your perspective, what can marketers do to set your loyalty program apart from others?
So I'll start off and say, Tia, I think that sounds amazing. And we actually don't have a very much robust rewards program here, but I think of, as a consumer and as a marketer outside of AAA, I think it's all the things that you said, and it's that feeling of belonging. Like I'm valued by this company. Here's how they're showing it. For one, living in the Northeast, Evan, you probably appreciate this too. Like I love the Dunkin' Donuts loyalty app, right? And they're always sending me rewards that I can either convert into things I want, or then there's special offers in there. And I think, all the companies that are into those types of transactions, McDonald's, you get a bunch of deals if you order through their loyalty app. So I think it's that belonging and a little bit of exclusivity.
100%. And Amy, I think you all do this really well at AAA. Outside of the loyalty program, what else can you do to inspire fandom amongst family consumers?
Absolutely. I think it starts with offering great service, right? Because you become a raving fan or somebody that's a promoter because you had a great experience. And here on the internal side, they're always sharing stories with us of the technicians that have gone above and beyond. Like they saw not necessarily just a typical road service call, but somebody that was in trouble and they needed something else, and they needed medical attention, or they needed, there was a story, someone saved someone from fire. They saw smoke while they're on their way to a roadside call. But doing things like that, going above and beyond. And we traditionally at AAA, we don't have customers, we have members, right? And we all belong together. We're a community of members. So as long as we treat each other like family, or maybe friends, depending how we treat our family, but you treat someone very well and do the very best you can with their best intentions in mind, I think that's how you create kind of a raving fan.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And going off of that, it seems like a discount, a promotion is what could bring someone in, but that incredible service is what will bring people back for more. But that's my opinion. Tia, does that resonate with you, in the food space?
Oh, absolutely. I think that the experience that you have once you're in the doors, or the experience that you have if you're ordering food like to your home, is critical, because once you get that person in the door, you need to win them over. And then that going above and beyond at Mod, we kind of refer to that as random acts of modness that our Mod squad do. That's what we call our employees. Just going above and beyond. And that can really, really resonate with people and keep them coming back and telling their friends about the experience that they had. I think the other thing that comes to mind for me is getting integrated into your community, especially when you're thinking about families. What are the activities and the things that are important to families? And that's where something like our work that we've done with TeamSnap comes into play, because we're trying to get involved in something that's really important to families, which is youth sports. So that service and the products that we've used with you guys have been great. Another thing we do is our fundraising program at Mod. So folks can set up a fundraiser for their PTAs, their sports teams, their nonprofits that are local. And that gives you the ability to give back to that direct community, and the opportunity for people who are hosting those events to invite the people that are the most important to them to come experience what we have at Mod.
I love that.
Tia, just to add on to that, because I think that's so well put. Being involved in the community adds that authenticity, and I think that's one of the things we're very appreciative with TeamSnap. We're very excited to be sponsoring teams this coming fall. Is you can say you're involved in the community and you're trying to give back, but then if you're not actually following that up and finding ways to do it, then you're not being authentic. And I enjoy working with your brand in that space particularly.
Well, I appreciate you both saying that. You definitely didn't need to for coming on the webinar today. But we are so grateful to partner with both of your incredible brands. And the most fruitful partnerships from our perspective are when it is a brand that is genuinely trying to connect with the community in a meaningful way outside of just this partnership. And I think that is what both of you do extremely well. Both in your brand message, but also the service that you provide to your consumers. So there was research done by the agency UM. It was UM Agency's Future Impact Study back in 2022. And it found that it is incredibly important for brands to align their values with the media they advertise on. The study states that purchase intent more than doubles when socially conscious brands engage advertising media partners that share common values. What values do your brands communicate to parents, and what strategies do you use to make sure these values are internalized? Any volunteers of who wants to take this first?
Yeah, I'm happy to go. I know that I alluded to it earlier, but at Mod, purpose is in our DNA. We like to say that we make pizza so we can serve people, and we exist to serve people in order to contribute to a world that works for and includes everyone. We really believe that companies should be a force for good in the lives of the people that they employ and the communities that they serve. And we do that through our social impact strategy on breaking down barriers to employment. We also do that through our fundraising program at the local level. And there's been a handful of different causes throughout the years that we've leaned into because we felt there was a need. And that's one of my favorite things about being a part of this brand. But I think Amy had mentioned it earlier that there's one thing to say those things as a brand, and there's another to really bring those things to life. And it's tough sometimes from a marketing lens because you have to find the right channels to talk about your purpose in a way that is meaningful to the consumer. Something we've recently done is kind of relaunch our website when it comes to talking about our purpose. We've added some like QR codes in store so that when you're looking at our menu panel, there's a little Mod Shield that asks you to learn more about what we're doing in our communities. So if you have not, I would go to our website and check it out because our social impact team has done an incredible job of really doubling down on making an impact in a really meaningful way. I think the other thing is back to that sort of fundraising program. That's such a great marketing tool that's bringing folks into your restaurant or into your business while also giving back to your communities.
I love that. Amy, same to you.
Sure. So AAA at its core, our values, right? We're a trusted advisor and we want to be there. We want to be your reliable roadside and other areas of your life. There's certainly the travel aspect, the insurance aspect, but all that kind of bubbles up into, we want to be somebody that is existing for our members and is always trying to deliver an exceptional experience and really be that trusted advisor. So that absolutely plays into where you want to make your ad placements, right? There's certain sites that wouldn't make sense, certain channels, certain audiences. And I think for us, a lot of it is just testing and learning. So when we're looking to go out with something and we have really good data analytics. We use plug for, I guess, Adobe Analytics here, but we're able to kind of get into the nitty gritty and really figure out what audiences and where things are popping and where we may be running into problems. So we consistently A/B test, see what does or doesn't work. Nothing is ever really rolled out in a high risk until we're comfortable with it. And then the brand arm of AAA, is very instrumental, kind of helping us review things like, well, that's not going to be received well, or that should be suppressed, or we should not be showing up on. But think of a recent example. We had bought some CTV with Hulu, right? There's certain shows that we shouldn't be showing up with because that's kind of contrary to the brand. So it's just kind of being mindful and having that full 360 view of, we're saying we're these things, we kind of have to line up with other areas, channels, content that also are putting out that same vibe.
Yeah, and you're in on a major theme of brand safety, which is what we had a previous webinar on. And do you find with the amount of channels that there are to invest in right now to reach your target audience, is it getting easier with additional technology or more challenging to make sure that you're delivering your message in a brand safe way?
I would say for now, because we do a lot of things programmatically, we find the target versus necessarily the placement. That's easier. However, the speed of change in marketing, even over the last 3 years, is breakneck. So what I think is easy or doable right now could not be true in 6 months. I know there's always data restrictions and different laws looming on the horizon at all points, but we try to focus in on who the target is and then follow them, and that seems to work well for us.
Yeah. So shifting gears slightly, how customers share their experience online is incredibly important to the success of any brand. In fact, we found that 80% of consumers are likely to make a purchase decision based on a friend's social media post. How are your brands listening and responding to the voices of your family consumers? Amy, let's start with you.
Sure. We absolutely utilize tools for social listening, and we have a whole team here at AAA that is involved in that. We all get email alerts every day, so everyone's kind of clued into what's happening out there. We're also, through media, our media team is internal. We work with a lot of social influencers and different things like that. So there's definitely back and forth checks before anything is really put out there on ours. And then in terms of responding to people that actually get back to us, we have dedicated staff that are always on, making sure if someone is asking us a question socially, we're not leaving that hanging, right? We're going to address that right away head on. And if it's something that may not be positive, personal message them, let's take this offline, let's try to make it right and flip that negative to a positive experience. So I think it's just being vigilant and making sure that you know 100% what's always kind of going on at all times, and being responsive and having that transparency to show people you're being responsive.
That makes a lot of sense. Tia?
Yeah, I concur with everything that Amy has brought up, but I would also add, thinking our little small but mighty social team is also looking a lot about like what content is really picking up engagement, especially on platforms like TikTok, Instagram, like what is resonating, so that we can kind of pivot that content to be getting in front of more eyes and really engaging with the folks that are consuming it. Obviously, we're looking at feedback not just from our social channels, but the feedback that we receive if somebody has a customer complaint and they're writing in, or if we have surveys that we're doing. It's taking all of those things into consideration so that when we're thinking about launching campaigns or we're doing postmortems on campaigns, we're considering those pieces of feedback. I think another thing this question made me think about is how are you sort of encouraging content to be created by your consumers? So whether that's partnering with local influencers. This last year we tested working with like micro influencers, which are folks that have under maybe 10,000 followers, but all of their followers live in the community that restaurant is located in. Or if it's thinking about kind of your community ambassadors, where another bone for you guys at like Leagueside, but having the league commissioners posting content, which is something that we have in our contract with you guys, means that content is coming from a trusted source. So it appears less like an ad and more like it's a conversation that's happening with a trusted community partner. The other thing is thinking about like what are fun things you can do in your social channels to engage your audience. When we recently did that Pineapple Day campaign, we encouraged our customers to like find the next big thing of pineapple pizza, like say Aloha Hawaiian, like what's new, and sharing those ideas on our social channels. So it's getting them engaged, because as you had mentioned in the prompt for the question, seeing your friends post about something is what's making you want to go there. So how are you getting your followers to talk about your brand?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And you mentioned TikTok. I'm trying to think of how to articulate this question. How much differentiation do you find there needs to be in the content that you're creating for one channel versus another channel, especially in social media? Does it have to be, are you able to replicate at all what that message is, or is your content strategy completely different for TikTok than it is for Instagram and Twitter and so on?
A complicated question. Our social team is who really handles that, but I will say that there's those memes that go around of like the personality of LinkedIn versus Facebook versus TikTok, and it's poking fun at a truth, which is that you really can't post all of the exact same content across all of those channels. What works on TikTok is not going to work on LinkedIn, and what works on LinkedIn might not work the best on Instagram. So our team definitely thinks about that when they're generating content, of where is this content best placed.
Yeah, no, I would agree with you wholeheartedly. There's places you can push, and then there's places you want to be a bit more conservative. I think sometimes the thematic line of what you're trying to do can go across platforms, may just need to be executed a little bit differently.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. Amy, what brands, other than AAA Northeast and Mod, I guess, do you think is doing an excellent job when it comes to engaging with family consumers? And I said, and Mod, this, I don't want it to just be complimenting one another.
Yes, I'm looking forward to trying Mod once you guys, if I take a road trip. But I had been thinking about this one, and there's a lot of different brands, but the one that I kind of kept coming back to with families was Crayola. So I think they've done an incredible job of, making everything feel like everyone belongs. They've done initial crayon packets, color packets, right, where I've seen where they've done, inclusive of every skin and nationality type of thing. I think they're innovative as someone with young kids to find things that completely don't ruin the inside of your house. Everything's non-toxic. They just do such a good job, I think, of understanding that segment, what that segment means, and then making sure every single child, regardless of like who you are, what you look like, what your background is inclusive. And I love that journey that they're taking. I don't know, I think it's called Colors of the World, that line that they've launched, which I think is just an amazing step, and as someone privileged to kind of have grown up with everyone that looks mostly like me, it wasn't something I really considered. And when I saw that, I'm like, wow, that's just, it's such a simple and great thing to do to make every single child feel included.
I wholeheartedly agree, and can't even tell you how much Crayola products we have in this department. Tia, what about you?
Disney is who immediately came to mind. I mean, I think obviously what they do, because it's a lot of it is targeted towards children, immediately lends itself to families. But I think they've done an amazing job in the last, decade or so of adding in additional, whether that's content or picking up like the Star Wars franchise, like things like that make it very multi-generational. So there's something for absolutely everyone. And then there's nostalgia. Like they just do such a good job of creating ad campaigns and products that are wholesome, and again, it hits that multi-generational note. I think another brand that I look at, just because it's food-based, is Chick-fil-A, because they've got community sort of integration down pat. Like they're in every sports field. Like their franchisees are on it when it comes to connecting with their communities.
Yeah. What's so interesting about Chick-fil-A is I think that unanimously we all think of Chick-fil-A as this friendly, wholesome brand, yet they sell fried chicken, which isn't the most healthy. And like it's incredible how they've been able to build such a wholesome brand that, I mean, I always crave it on Sundays, unfortunately. That is so family friendly. Are there certain websites, editorials? How do you all keep current with what other brands are doing and investing in? And are there certain resources that inspire you?
Sure. I mean, we're big into both the AMA and the ANA as just marketing organizations. There's always great, generally a lot of free information, right? There's some behind paywalls, but there's a lot that's available free, and there's great articles. I also really like this one called the eMarketer Daily that I get an email from every day, and they always have some interesting things on what's trending and what's going on. So as time allows, certainly poking around on things like that. But I also find just in general, regular social media and listening, not necessarily with my eyes through AAA, but I love reading through Reddit, and I find I learned so much reading through. Like, it sounds kind of crazy, but there's so many people being honest, and it's an anonymous community, so you can kind of read through and see what's going on there, which I always find entertaining and engaging, interesting. And then I'd say the last thing is I love TED Talks. So that necessarily doesn't tell you a lot about what brands are going on, but I just think it's one of those things that kind of helps you put yourself in a different frame of mind and think at things differently. And then you may read something after listening to one that you're in a different perspective.
I can relate to that. Tia, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with everything Amy just said. With the addition of like podcasts, like my dad got me hooked on the Brand Wars podcast, and I find that kind of stuff fascinating. Of just learning about the different journeys of brands, challenges they've faced. Like it may not always be the most up-to-date information, but I think like looking in the past at what brands have done is also like very informative. Um, at Mod, we also do a lot of like consumer insight research, and we look at our brand tracker, and that includes some information from like our brands that we're competing against, and that includes Chick-fil-A to an extent. So that's where we can kind of stay on top of some of those like insights as well.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So I have one more question for each of you. This has been incredible so far, and we've got a bunch of questions coming in from the audience that we could get to next. TL, we'll start with you. Our research found that parents and their children have roughly equal influence when it comes to choosing a restaurant for casual dining. How does Mod Pizza make sure it's providing an experience that wins the entire family?
Yeah, I think our experience immediately lends itself in that we have this saying of all pizzas welcome, because there's any toppings, one price. And our experience is you're walking in and it's individual sized pizzas where you get to be in the driver's seat and pick anything you want. Like if you want to be the black sheep that's like, I just want like all black olives, like no cheese, no nothing, like you can be that person. Or if you're team pineapple or you're not, like it doesn't matter. And if you've ever, like I grew up with 3 siblings, and like if you've ever tried to duke it out of like what toppings you want on your pizza against your family, like that's not fun for everyone. So that itself like lends itself to families. I think convenience, I know we talked about in the first question about how that's really, really important to family consumers. And so at Mod, we're also super fast and we offer this variety of ordering channels. So families can choose what best fits their needs. Are you going to come in store? Do you need to be ordering, deliver it to yourself? Is it pickup? Is it curbside? Like those are all options that you can choose from. And then just the customer experience. You want to feel good when you're going out, and that's something that we're always thinking about and keeping top of mind. Are we creating the best experience for our families when they're coming in? And then lastly, I'd say just the giving back component, like especially fundraising programs, things like league-side sponsorships. Like how are you integrating into what's important to families?
Makes a lot of sense. And Amy, trust is an incredibly important factor in purchase decisions, particularly for a brand like AAA. What do you think are the non-negotiables when it comes to building trust with traveling families? And what must they see in and get from your brand?
It's definitely reliability and availability. So I think first and foremost, if you're a AAA member, you join most likely for the core benefit of having roadside assistance, and you're going to want that when you need it. You're not going to want someone to tell you, no, we'll get you tomorrow. That's not okay. I mean, yes, certainly when it's stormy or there's, things outside going on in the environment, we may have longer wait times, right? And that's never ideal for people, but we are going to come and we're going to do a good job and we're going to take care of you. And our technicians, I can't say enough good things. They are vetted. They are constantly being trained. Like you're going to get somebody that knows what they're doing. They're going to try to help you right away to keep you going and get you involved in your day. It's not necessarily a tow, right, that's going to ruin your day. But I think beyond that, it's the whole thing. You're going to engage with us in the way you want to, whether that's online, via phone. And it's got to be easy. You're going to request what you're going to request. It's got to be a pleasant experience. It's got to be a quick experience. Then the service has to be there, and then whatever follow-up that needs to be there to check in and make sure that it was okay. The whole full circle of that has to be there. And a lot of it too is we joke, because I work in membership, but really the entire company is involved in membership growth, because if people don't treat members well, they're not going to want to stay with us or join us. So we look at ourselves as a family here, and that we have to take care of kind of all of the members as family. And culture and the way we are at AAA is a big part of it. And you go through a lot of training for that, and do a lot of things to kind of boost morale. And I think that kind of just lifts all ships.
Yeah, I love that. All right, there are some questions coming in from the audience. Thank you all so much for not only engaging with us, but asking questions. A reminder, you could ask questions in the chat, and Noah, our incredible team member here, will be going through them and sending them over to me. The first question from the audience: can you share one of your favorite recent campaigns or initiatives from your brand that you feel really connected with a family audience? Tia, you hit on this a little bit with the pineapple campaign. Can you tell us more about what that campaign entailed?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that it all kind of started where one of our social media managers noticed the organic controversy that surrounds pineapple on pizza. Like, people get heated on the internet of, does pineapple belong on pizza? You're on one side of that camp or the other. Like, there is no neutrality. It is cutthroat. And at Mod, we also like to say keep Mod weird. And so when it comes to sort of like those holidays, those zeitgeist holidays, so to speak, of like Pi Day, like everybody expects you to do something on Pi Day as a pizza brand, but like, who expects you to do something big on Pineapple Day? So we've decided for the last like 5 years to really own Pineapple Day. That is like Mod's holiday. We've drawn the line in the sand. So we've done a couple campaigns in the past couple years, but with this being our 5th year of leaning into it, we wanted to go big. So we actually partnered with Dole, who provides some of our pineapple with us, to center this campaign around finding the next big pineapple on pizza. So we, on June 27th, which is National Pineapple Day, had it where if you put pineapple on your pizza, it would be for $5. You just had to put pineapple on it. You could make any combination you wanted, and we encouraged our consumers to post on social media, like, what is the next big pineapple on pizza recipe? And then we kind of went through all of that, picked our winner, and that is currently available on our digital ordering channel. So you can go try the modern Hawaiian on our digital platforms for a limited time. And it was just a fun way to lean into something that's already sort of trending, that we know is kind of important, so to speak, to pizza consumers. It drove value because you're having this exclusive deal, and got people creating content and talking about the brand. So it was a really awesome campaign.
I love that. Amy, can you share one of AAA Northeast recent campaigns or initiatives that you feel really connected with the family audience?
Sure. I think of it as some of our branch community involvement. So we've done a lot of things where members can participate with us, and that kind of really speaks to the family. So we did a bunch of Earth Day cleanups, and we opened it up to members, and they were able to come and work alongside with employees at various different locations through our territory where we were cleaning up. We do clothing drives and food drives that involve both the employee. We've done trunk or treats at the branches during Halloween that involve the members. So trying to do different things like that in the community. For what we're looking for when we're advertising, we don't necessarily go after the children in the family, so it is still more geared to the adult decision maker. Obviously, you need to generally have a license. There's all those types of things right there, but I think we do on the side have a lot of things that try to engage with the family. When we market our driving school in particular, I think we try to have some fun with that and do some different things there. We haven't actually done it yet, but there's many times we've been circling around trying to think of, like, could we do a cool interactive driving school game? So that's always kind of out there on the radar. But interactivity, and I think Tia, you spoke to that before, like wherever we can find vehicles in our advertising that we can have engagement, that always seems to do really, really well too. There's all these kind of fun animations and games that you can put out in front of people that end up becoming an ad, and it's fun for everybody.
Yeah, makes sense. Well, I know as a kid, when I saw in the mail that there was a letter from AAA, I would make sure my parents were renewing, because if they renewed, that would increase the probability that I would be able to go to a theme park, or so
yes, that is very true. We do have good theme park tickets, that is for sure. I use our movie ones all the time myself.
Yes. I was just informed we have time for just one more question. So the last question of this incredible webinar, thank you both again so much. Are there any new strategies and or tactics your marketing team is trying this year and or thinking about trying next year that you're most excited about? It's a big question.
I would say
yeah.
It's a big question. I don't know that this is more high level. It's not going to be a distinct item, but we're really trying to figure out how to use AI alongside of our marketing, right? And whether that's, it could be as simple as you come to our website and it knows who you are and just transforms a couple of things. It may involve, and I don't know that we're going to go down this route, but at least exploring ChatGPT and how AI may be able to help make a bunch of iterations of the same ad so that it looks slightly different but matches who it's going up against. The possibilities are kind of endless. We're just scratching the surface. We're trying a little bit of that stuff with our website now, and that's kind of where we're putting our toe in the water, but we would like to expand on that and what AI's capabilities are that can only enhance kind of that one-to-one relevancy.
I love that. By chance, did you see the first episode of the Black Mirror season?
No, but I will check that out.
Well, highly recommend. It's about just creating relevant content to specific consumers. It's really interesting. Tia, same question to you. Anything new and exciting marketing team at Mod is working on?
Yeah, I think this past year was our first delve into some category innovation for our menu. So we launched Pocket Pie this year, which was a new menu platform for us. And we're continuing to do menu innovation and testing different things that are coming in the next year, which are really exciting. Our core product is always going to be like pizzas, salads, but it's been fun to play around in different sides, desserts, beverages, that sort of space. And kind of to that end, my team does all of our local marketing, and our fundraising program is a huge part of that. So something that we're looking at trying in the next year or so is how do we leverage our fundraising platform to promote some of these new like menu products. So is it that we can give an extra percentage back if you're ordering that specific item? Is it that we can theme a campaign around that item that ties into fundraising? I think that our fundraising platform has done so well for us historically at connecting driving traffic. So can we kind of yield that to celebrate the launches of these new items?
Love it. Well, with that, Tia, Amy, this was absolutely incredible. You both have built and work at brands that inspire me, so many of us. So it's unsurprising that you all had so much value to share with us and so many insights to share. So thank you so much. We appreciate your partnership, ongoing support, and hopefully we could run this back again soon.
Thank you so much for having me. Tia, it was a pleasure to meet you as well. I look forward to trying a Mod pizza. And, again, very much appreciate the partnership and appreciate the listeners.
Yeah, same. Thank you so much for having me. Thanks to everybody who joined on. I will definitely be renewing my AAA membership, maybe not in the Northeast, but in the Mid-Atlantic. So it was a pleasure, truly.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. I'm your host, Evan Brandoff, and we will see you all soon. See you, everyone.